How about drive-through liquor stores? I thought that was the funniest thing ever. We know that every place has pros and cons, and you've heard all the normal things about Arizona, about all the cons, and hopefully some of the pros, the little tiny things that nobody really talks about. Let's talk about some of those things that no one ever talks about, and this is actually my second video covering these from a survey I did amongst a couple 100,000 residents in the greater Phoenix area.
A lot of people to have over for drinks.
In no particular order, let's talk about some of these things that people even told me that I didn't know about. Like, for instance, there's a high school dress code in Arizona. Is that not normal? With the styles, most of the kids kind of need a little guidance. Now, I'm not talking about uniforms, but I am talking there are dress codes, more specifically for women. And also really what it says on some of those shirts or sweatshirts that kids might be wearing to school. So there are dress codes here in the greater Phoenix area. And then the lower grade schools, they do have uniforms, and they also have, some people said they feel like cages, but they do have fences all the way around the property, so that kids can't just come in and off of campus at their whim. Makes sense to me. How is that not everywhere? Like I said, we don't all wear shorts year-round, but we do wear flip-flops typically year-round. We might have a sweater on with our flip-flops, unless, of course, it's raining, and then we just think that the world is melting, and we have our big winter shoes, which, by the way, when I went away for a white Christmas, I couldn't even find the right type of apparel to wear in true cold country. No lie, I went to Anchorage, Alaska for Christmas many years ago. And let me tell you, the boots and the coats that I bought here to wear there didn't really work. So I spent a lot of money while I was shopping there. And then, of course, when I got back home, I never wore those things again. Just saying. Here's some other things that people have talked about. I think this comes with a newer environment. They said that there's not a lot of cemeteries here in Arizona, or should I say in Phoenix? And I was like, well, are there a lot of cemeteries where you're from? And I guess when you live in a city that's hundreds of years old, you've had many, many more generations of people that have passed away. I don't know. It's just kind of a creepy thing. And we had somebody that actually just recently gave us a call, and they chose Arizona over maybe some of the East Coast states because they wanted to move to a newer community. They said they wanted newer, more modern, freeway systems, schools. They wanted a cleaner environment. They wanted a safer environment, just one that hadn't been tainted for hundreds of years. And just that made sense, because when I went back home, or should I say even back east, I remember going into Pittsburgh, and I remember just thinking, this place is dirty, like everywhere. You just felt it. I think that's one of the things, even I come from California, and when I moved here, I'm like, gosh, everything is so clean and open and wide and new compared to most metropolitan areas. All right, here's one that I think a lot of people are kind of creeped out about it. It's more of a mental thing, and that is that there are a lot of people that carry concealed weapons here in the greater Phoenix area. In fact, if you look at the fact that we have 5 million people that live here, and there's almost 500,000 permits of concealed weapons in Arizona, you're talking about maybe, what is that, 1 out of every 100 that is carrying a concealed weapon. So you're probably wondering, what exactly does that mean? It means this. The person that filed for their application has to be either 19 and military or 21 years of age. That's the bare minimum. No felony criminal record. You are going to take a firearm course, and then you're going to submit an application. And let me tell you, that application, they're going to be doing a lot of background on you and making sure that there's a lot of other things, checks and balances that you are cleared on. It takes about 75 days, $60, and you will get your concealed weapons permit. And it is good for 5 years. And the renewal is about $125. And that's about it. So there's a lot of ladies that are packing and a lot of guys that wear them actually on their holster, that sometimes it's actually more comforting knowing they're not concealed when you think about how many you don't know are out there. But know that it is a safe community, and let's hope that that continues to remain the same and that we continue to have the right to bear arms. Here's a weird one. I thought this was so funny. In restaurants, I was told that they were like excited that they got free refills. And I'm like, what do you mean free refills? They're like, when you have a soda or an iced tea, they come and bring you, a second glass or a third glass. And I was like, that's not normal. Well, apparently on the East Coast, that's not normal. But in the greater Phoenix area, well, I'd say actually in the entire western part of the United States, you get free refills. So you pay $3 or $3.50 and you can drink as much soda as you want. Here's something too. Our housing is built completely different than in other parts of the country. For instance, our fencing is going to be cylinder blocks instead of chain link fence or wood fence because the sun will just deteriorate it in a matter of a year. In fact, you don't see a lot of, what was it called? Tan bark? I don't know. The wood that you would actually put out shredded you don't do that here in Arizona because you're just creating more splinters. And that's an invitation for termites and bugs in Arizona. Homes, again, are made completely different. We have everything is built by 2x4 or 2x6 construction, mostly wood, although some of them do have some steel framed homes. And then you have chicken wire on the house with stucco. And, I always say that the single family, homes, it's not a matter of if they have cracks, it's just how many cracks can you see. There's no such thing as a crackless house in Arizona because we have very expansive soil. So when it gets wet, it's like a sponge and it just soaks up the water and so it swells. And then when it's dry, it cracks. And that's including your skin in the wintertime. I'll tell you, it's so dry here. It's the opposite of sweating all the time. You're dry all the time. So you're going to be wearing lots of lip moisturizer, lots of hand lotion year round, and it's worse in the wintertime. But in reference to the homes, the landscaping is also very different. We have what they call xeriscape. Now, it's not zero meaning there's nothing on the yard and there's zero stuff. It's zero, Xeri. So xeriscape. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but it is xeriscape. And it is to help protect the desert and the lifestyle and hopefully reserve much of the water that we can use for drinking and living and not necessarily having to have beautiful, overly blooming or water sucking plants in Arizona. You gotta love the desert for what it has to offer. Speaking of which, I am amazed at how many people when they move here that they don't even know what a saguaro is. It's the cactus that looks like a human being, or a hand that might be flipping you off. And here's the thing, people don't know this, but the little saguaros, however long it takes them to grow, their very first arm, they are about 80 years old when they spread out their first arm. So if you see two, it doesn't mean that it's 100 or 160 years old. It just means if you see one with an arm, it's over 80 years old. It is a protected plant in Arizona. And so even if you have it on your property, you need to obtain a permit to move it. And let me tell you, they're very pricey. So if you want to add one, you're going to be looking at least $1,000 for a big one and a permit and having it moved. And when they fall, unfortunately, especially with the drought and the heat that we had in the summer of 2023, we did lose a lot of saguaros. It was a sad day. There was a lot of saguaro memorials, I'll tell you. The sun, the heat, the dryness, people were overwatering their saguaros to offset, again, that drought and the heat, and it was actually waterlogging them and they fell over. And you have to pay someone to come and move it because that thing is thousands of pounds, like you don't even think about it. One of the other things that Arizona is so known for, and you don't have in the rest of the country, I think it's kind of more of a western part of the United States because they're builder-created master plan communities. So although there are a lot of master plan communities, here you don't only have to buy in a master plan community. What exactly is a master plan community? It is when a builder goes in to an area of land that's probably not pretty. It's either an old farm that is just now dirt, or it's a really not pretty part of the desert. And they're like, we can build something beautiful. If you build it, they will come. If you build it, you will come. And there's a lot of places like this in Arizona. Because let me tell you, I love the desert. Just like I said, you got to love the desert. But if you're going to live in Arizona, but not all desert is beautiful. And what I'm trying to say is these builders go in and they build these beautiful homes with absolutely beautiful models. And they build these great common area items like clubhouses, community pools, pickleball courts, tennis courts, bocce ball courts, golf course communities, trails within the communities. Some of them have beautiful ramadas with little barbecue areas. Some of them have big soccer fields, baseball fields, big lake communities. And I'm just telling you, it goes on and on and on. Now, if you need or want something like this, there is a plethora of old ones and new ones.
Oh, yes. You have a plethora.
Some of my favorite older ones are going to be like Power Ranch. Some of my new favorite ones are going to be Eastmark. That's kind of middle of the road, to be honest with you. Eastmark is about a 20-year build out. They're renting about 10 years. They're right in the middle. And it is thousands of homes. And not only do they have everything I just said, they have a farm. They have a skate park. They have, I'm telling you, movies in the park. It is insane about all the things they have. And then there's communities like Sun City Festival that literally, it is an oasis in the middle of the desert. And I'm not talking about like a city in the desert like Maricopa. Sun City Festival doesn't even have a grocery store, but there's thousands of people that live there because they love golf. And the builder has built the most beautiful community, clubhouse, and social environment for 45 plus retirees. So we have a lot of those. But some people don't want to pay the exorbitant HOAs, which, by the way, we have a lot of HOAs. Any home that's been built since the 1990s, there is an HOA. Some of them that don't have very many community amenities can be as low as $40, $45, $50 a month. And some of them can be astronomical on the 55 plus. They could be as high as $1,000 a month. So if you are looking for amenities, let us know. If you don't necessarily need amenities, definitely give us a call so that we can kind of direct you to whatever it is that is kind of floating your boat. It's not just about the house, guys. It's about your environment. So what's a snowbird? Oh, you're going to learn what a snowbird is. And let me tell you, traffic is going to completely change from the months of New Year's Eve day all the way until, let's say, the end of April. We're talking double, triple. We're talking not only do we lose a third of our residents over the summertime, so it's really nice and you can get around and you can park up in the front, and there's not a lot of people on the roads. So not only do we get all those vacation people back in Arizona, and literally I'm talking like 1 million people have second homes here, vacation homes, non-primary residents, but then we also have the tourists. We have tourists here like crazy. As many Airbnbs and hotels as we have, there are some weeks out of the year that it's pretty hard to get a reasonable price on sleeping accommodations. Car rentals, you got to plan ahead. It's definitely better, meaning sleeping accommodations, but I'll be honest with you, Airbnbs have gotten out of control. And this girl anyways is going back to the hotels. I like to be waited on. I don't want to have to clean up my own mess and empty the garbage can before I leave.
As if.
Okay, that's just my rant. Driver's license is good for 30 years here. So when I looked this up, by the way, someone said you have to take a new picture every 10 years. I think I was due maybe a year or so ago. I guess don't get pulled over and then nobody knows. How about drive-through liquor stores? I thought that was the funniest thing ever. In fact, coming where I'm from, but it makes sense, California, we had liquor stores. They don't have liquor stores in Arizona. I'm trying to think. They have one in Chandler. It's called the 480. And there's actually a YouTube video about that. It's hilarious. In the 480. It's called Chandler Liquors. But there's really not a lot of liquor stores. You get your groceries where you get your whiskey. You can pick up the beer at CVS or Walgreens or your spirits. You can get alcohol just about anywhere they sell food. And bars here, if they have a true bar license, you can get alcohol to go. Yeah. And there's actually 2 shopping centers that you can walk around with sippy cups.
Keep it on the deal.
Yep. Yeah, that would be Desert Ridge and Tempe Marketplace. You have to buy the alcohol there. It's so much fun shopping with your credit card with alcohol. Just remember when the bill comes, you did make that purchase. So we do have a lot of strip clubs here in Arizona. We have a lot of tourism. And I know that sounds weird. So why does tourism equal strip clubs? It just does. We are kind of like a mini Vegas now. In fact, somebody just recently was telling me that they were thinking about moving here and they were choosing Scottsdale specifically because they wanted to be pampered, a resort, spa. They wanted pool parties and clubs. Well, that doesn't sound like someone that's moving here in a more mature part of their life or raising a family. That is probably going to be someone that's going to be renting in one of the high rises in Scottsdale. That is like the tourism. That's just not how most people live here in the greater Phoenix area. We do have over $1 billion, I said billion dollars a year tourist industry. So with that also comes other type of ancillary entertainment, especially for guys when they go on their buddy golf trips. Just saying, you'll see them at the clubs and you see them at the strip clubs. There are strip clubs, I wouldn't say necessarily all over the Phoenix area, but they're just there. They're not like in a special district and they don't have like a special light color. Like you can just look it up. You can just look up strip club. There's a very famous one in Chandler called Sunny's. And you know what? Here's the funny thing. Sunny's is female owned and she is a hoot. And if you look at the signs, she has one of those, I don't know, like Las Vegas signs where she puts sayings on it. They are funny as shit, I'm telling you. And it's just right there. Everybody knows about Sunny's. It's hilarious. So back to the housing, you know, a lot of people ask me why we don't have a lot of basements. Well, there's a couple of reasons. Like, number one, it's cheaper to build up than down. So just build up. You just got to have a solid structure. If you go down, you're digging some serious holes. And if you look up why basements were built and that they needed to go below the snow level, and you look at like in the Midwest or the Northeast where they have predominantly basements in every single home, the builders at some point said, well, if we're already going to build down 4 to 6 feet, we might as well just go 8 to 10 and make it somewhat livable. And I know that there are a lot of homes that have basements that are not finished. And that's when you watch these old movies of people falling down these staircases. And this, I don't even know what you guys call it because I've never lived in those kind of homes where the thing's moving around and as a child, you're scared. Yeah, we don't have that. We do have some basement homes, but the basement homes are very deliberate here too. So they're always finished and they're super always upgraded. Like they're great for movie rooms and everything. But I'll be honest with you, when you're in Arizona, you love the sunshine. You know, just recently I saw a past client who moved here from Minnesota, and she was saying she was just back there. And it was the same temperature in the town that she was in Minnesota as it was in Chandler, Arizona. I think it was 56 degrees. And she said, but you know what? I never realized how much the sunshine didn't make it feel like 56 degrees in Arizona. And you still had a smile on your face versus when she went back home for a couple weeks over the holidays. And it was nothing but doom and gloom. And then go underground and then you see yeah, that doesn't even sound appealing to me.
No, Jose.
So in Arizona, when you do have a basement home, it's not really that awesome. So some people think, well, where do you store all your stuff? Well, a lot of people put stuff in their garage, but you're going to learn very quickly that our garages do not protect from the heat. And things like candles, food, even like me, I put my Christmas trees and I wrap them in plastic. I have to replace that plastic every couple of years just from the heat because it cracks. So you don't want to put anything of value in your garage or in a shed on the side of your home. And this is also why you are going to find storage facilities absolutely everywhere, like in every single direction. There's air-conditioned ones, there's indoor ones, there's RV ones, boat ones, covered ones. I mean, you have quite a few choices. With the HOAs and the fact that you can't park your boat or RV on the side of your home, even if you have an RV gate, don't think that, guys, by the way. There is a place close by that you can store your trailers. Now, here is why RV garages are becoming a really big thing. They were only for the really wealthy elite people just a few years ago. But today you can buy a home, a nice size home with an RV garage, brand spanking new for under $600,000 in many different parts. Let me tell you, if you have an RV or if you have off-road vehicle, if you have a RZR and things like that, and you have a bunch of outdoor toys, chances are you're not going to want to live in the middle of the city anyways. You're probably someone that enjoys the more rural-esque areas, and there's a lot of great opportunities now. Arizona's finally growing up, and we're expanding. We do have really small lots, though. That's something, I'll be honest with you, I don't understand that one single bit. It is the number one thing I hear a complaint about because I get this a lot too. I want a really small house. I don't need, not a really small, but I need a smaller home, but I want a big lot. Like I want a half-acre lot with a 1,500 square foot home. They do not build those out here at all whatsoever. And if you have a 1,500 square foot home, you're probably on a 4,000 square foot lot. If you find a 10,000 square foot lot, you're probably looking at a home over 2,500 square feet. And just because it has more land, it's probably competitive, even in our slowest markets. People want land and there's not a lot. Well, there is a lot of land. There's just not a lot of land as it's tied to your home. Here's another thing that I don't think it bothered me at all, but a lot of people say, I didn't know this, so I'm going to share it with you. They said, I didn't know you guys had as many Mormons. It's funny the way that you guys, there's this division. But we didn't know that there was this many Mormons here. And I was like, well, what difference does that make? Anyways, there are 3 Mormon temples. That's pretty big, guys. When I first moved here, there was only one. So in 25 years, they have developed the need for 2 more. So there's 3 temples. And there is seminaries at most of the high schools to accommodate the very, very large Mormon population. So if that's something that you want to talk about, give us a call, or you could do some research on your own. But you know, one of the things that I really love about Arizona is the diversity from every way you can look at it. We are growing and we are turning into a very diverse community. And I love that everybody kind of is open and shares. Because when I was growing up in California, nobody knew what I was or what my neighbor was. You either had Christmas lights up or you didn't, but you never really even talked to your neighbors because most of the people stayed in their home for 20 or 30 years. People move around here in Arizona a lot. So that could be a negative because you'll just find your best friend and then they move away. So as someone who likes to enjoy the outdoors or enjoy the evenings out, I will tell you this, that your day is much longer in Arizona. People get up super, super early so that they can run in the cooler temperature, no matter what time of the year it is. And we have very late dinners and happy hours. Like my happy hours start at 5, not end at 5. So the best thing is, I've been told this too, is that Arizona has some of the most amazing happy hour places and brunch places. Apparently, not a lot of other parts in the country celebrate happy hour at normal happy hour times. If you ask me, 5 to 7, 5 to 6, 4 to 6, that's happy hour time. I'd say 6 is typically the time it kind of switches off, and then it becomes dinner. Brunch, and bottomless mimosas everywhere. I'm telling you. This town knows how to party.
But my life is good. Really good.
That is why, again, you got to give us a call because there are different parts of town that do have a lot of that stuff. But if you say, being within 30 minutes is fine, I'm telling you, you're not going to drive 30 minutes for the best lunch of your life. You're just not. You're not going to drink and drive in Arizona. And we do have Uber, Lyft, and we have Waymo. And if you're wondering what Waymo is, it is the self-driving vehicle. And so nobody's in the vehicle with you. Kind of weird, right?
That's black magic.
All right, guys, there's so many little tiny, I call them Arizona-esque. And we just love to have a conversation with you, answer your questions. I'm sure you got some burning questions that you want to know. I don't know, like club sports for kids or, athletic programs, both in school and out of school. I can go on forever. We want to be your source for sources. So you just got to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Days, nights, or weekends, we got you back when moving to Phoenix, Arizona. And until next time, we'll see you soon.